Hey, welcome friends.
Hi everybody.
Yeah, right on. Just wanted to hop on here. This is Malcolm. We got
And Denis is here too.
Yeah, we're the creators of this year's second annual Calgary Fermentation Festival. We're having lots of fun prepping for that festival. And fermentation, it's our life. It's what we do. It's what we consume literally every day. And want to culture the city. That's our mission, to bring more probiotic goodness to everyone in this city. So we're doing lots of interviews, we're doing videos, and wanted to hop on here and show you how simple, how easy it is to do a quick little pickle. And with the frost coming, I went out to my garden and this feral bunch of mustard greens, huge amount. It's like a garbage bag full, literally.
Wow.
In the next 15 minutes, Denis and I are going to transform this into a nice, spicy mustard green pickle. Now, what I love about this recipe is these mustard greens, they're spicy, right? As a fresh green, it's just something that I will never be able to consume, especially the amount that grew. Last year, I stumbled upon this recipe because my wife Laura had sent me out to plant greens in the garden. I did. I took the exact seed she gave me, and guess what came up? An entire bed of mustard greens. There was no lettuce, there was no kale, there was no arugula. It was just these massive mustard greens that, again, they're amazing, they're lovely, but to really, truly, to be able to consume the amount that we had, fresh was going to be impossible. So in utilizing this kind of technique to ferment it down, we had several jars of basically a garden mustard kimchi, and this is the very last of it from last year. So it has remained this long. I was sampling it out to all the wild food groups, to the fermented food classes, and man, was it ever a hit. So
wow, this is truly one of the first major benefits of fermentation, is that this is local food at its finest. This is food preservation. This is 1 year old and it's amazing.
And literally 3 ingredients. In fact, we could probably get away with 2, but we're gonna go 3. Those 3 ingredients are mustard greens from the garden, salt, and water. And for just a little extra kick, I'm also gonna add some ginger. We got some chilies, and we're just gonna get right to it. So
how much salt do you think we should add for each bowl here, Malcolm? A couple tablespoons?
yeah, well, here's the thing about fermentation. You can get very specific, and it's good to be specific. It's good to follow recipes. But you can also just kind of, as you get into this, you just really kind of get a sense, you get a feel. So the very specific recipe, when you're doing a pickle like this, if you're doing sauerkraut, any kind of lacto fermentation where it's going to pickle itself, and if you didn't catch it, up on Calgary Fermentation Festival Instagram and Facebook page, we put a little meme up there explaining the difference between a pickle and a ferment, right? Because you hear that term pickle, and a lot of people get confused. Well, they're used to canning as pickles. Well, we're going to pickle it, but through fermentation, through the action of lactic acid bacteria. And there's quite a few differences between the two processes, and salt is used as the base. It's going to help create an environment that those bad bacteria, the things that we don't want, they can't thrive in. They will not grow in that environment. But our good bacteria, our probiotics, they're what we call halotolerant. They're tolerant of that environment. They can grow, they can thrive, and creates the right environment for them. So the exact ratio is a 2% salt ratio, and you can do that by weight. So you could weigh out the exact amount of your veggies, and then not wedgies. Is that a Freudian slip? I don't know what's going on there. So 2%, and then add that weight in salt. Now, Denis and I, we're intuitive chefs here, so it's exactly as he did. He just kind of sprinkled it on. You can, if you want, you can go ahead, depending on what you're using. If they have tough stalks or stems, I mostly got just leaves, so even those little bit of stems in there, I'm not too worried about it. Denis obviously not worried. He's right in there. And then we just start to massage that in. Yeah. So, cool. We got lots of good folks joining us here. Hey, Louise. We got Luca. We have, hey, Vitalia. Right on. Good to have you guys watching.
This is really the second major benefit of fermentation, is that we're actually pre-digesting these mustard greens. We're actually cooking them. Fermentation is a method of cooking the greens that if you just ate these raw, you would only absorb a certain amount of the nutrients. But during the fermentation process, the bacteria are actually breaking down the cell walls of this mustard green, and it's going to become soft and tender, and we can eat way more of it than we could eat raw.
Totally. Another actually process is happening here is that salt is breaking open the cell walls, and as it is, there's that whole osmosis happening. It's drawing the water out. Look at Denis, he's got it like major bunch. Ooh, the juice is coming, so he's got to work that just a little bit more, get it a little bit more juicy, and again, kind of breaking some down that tough cellulose to make it easier for us to digest. And then of course, as Denis was sharing, then we're going to leave it up to the bacteria. They're going to do the rest of the work to make these greens super tender, super digestible, and the nutrients that are contained in there more bioavailable. So we're going to absorb more from these mustard greens. The sulfur compounds, so healing, great for the liver, good for the skin, for detoxification. Again, there's no way I'd be able to eat this much fresh. And I'll just throw an aside here because, I've been down this path. A lot of us that are kind of into health, nutrition, if a little bit is good, then more is better, right? I mean, if fermented foods are good, then we should just only eat fermented foods. And there have been studies suggesting that, the healthiest people are the ones that, yes, they eat fresh fruits and vegetables, they eat cooked fruits and vegetables, they eat fermented fruits and vegetables, not just raw fruits and veggies, not just cooked fruits and veggies, and not just fermented fruits and veggies. So we want to get them in all forms. There's benefits there, absolutely.
So we're massaging this mustard greens until you get enough juice that when you pack it in a jar, the juice is going to cover everything. You want to submerge all the veggies in the juice. So I got quite a bit here, Malcolm. Look at all that juice.
Woo! All right, excellent.
Actually, maybe you should have some of my juice there.
Ooh, let's put it all together. Excellent, excellent. Cool, and we're going to top it up with a bit of water as well, just to really have it submerged. Ginger, so there's another ingredient I'm adding in as well, and I'm also going to add in some chilies. Now, here's this little secret tip for you, something I learned the hard way. I was working with Madeline McKinnon, one of the instructors at Light Cellar. She was one of our, she was the third staff member of Light Cellar. Denis was the second, and a couple of months, so that was, 9 years ago?
Yeah,
9 years ago. And then Madeline came along, and those were the early days where we'd be making sauerkraut in the back, just all hanging out. And we wanted to go for the hot, fiery kimchi. And we pulled out, every hot pepper off the shelf. We had whole chilies, chili flakes, and we had fresh hot peppers. And we were just absolutely going for it. And so all it went into the bowl. We added the salt. We started massaging. And all of a sudden, Madeline, I could just see the red, just flaming up her arms all over her neck and chest, and it was like, yeah.
Don't be afraid, though. Don't be afraid.
It was a healing for sure. But here's the trick:
we got ginger.
Is you do the massaging, and then you add in your spice once you're done.
So we got some chili peppers here.
Yeah, or
amp it up.
In Korea, what they'll do is they have basically gloves, kimchi gloves, which essentially they're basically like dishwash gloves, and that can help protect your hands as well.
Have you got a little jar to start packing this in there, Malcolm?
Yes, absolutely. Let me grab a jar, and then why don't you dive into the next benefit of fermented foods?
Yeah, well, truly, so this is the third benefit of fermented foods, is that it develops a fantastic flavor. So when you ferment anything, it develops lactic acid, and it's similar to vinegar, which is acetic acid, but the sour flavor is known to have tremendous benefits for humans. One of them is that it'll make your mouth start watering. It's mouth-wateringly tasty. So the sour flavor is amazing for getting your appetite going and getting your digestive juices going. These flavors truly bring out all sorts of notes from if you're going to use this as a condiment in your dish, but I know the Japanese use their pickles as a sort of, they'll have a plate of pickles and they will whenever they're tired of the taste of their food, they will have a bite full of pickles, and it cleanses the palate and allows you to taste all of the rest of your food again. So Malcolm has a jar here. We're gonna start packing in our kimchi.
All right.
We're at the point where we got tons of juices flowing here.
And we're still not quite through all the mustard greens. I'm gonna keep working on this bunch here.
So we're packing this in the jar, and in this jar, magic is going to happen. In this jar, the bacteria are gonna start digesting the mustard greens for us. So
breaking down the fibers.
This is the fourth fantastic benefit of fermented foods, is that the bacteria actually produce their own vitamins and nutrients as they multiply in this mustard greens kimchi. We're actually gonna be eating those bacteria, and they're very nutritious for us. So they provide all sorts of vitamins and nutrients. These are called the bacterial metabolites, and if you ever looked at the nutritional facts of nutritional yeast, you'll see they're incredibly rich in B vitamins, and that's exactly what is being produced in this jar of kimchi. Huge quantities of B vitamins. So that's packed, hey Malcolm, look at that thing.
Oh yeah, look at that. That's great. And look at that nice, deep, rich green, the chlorophyll. This is fantastic. Cool. If you guys got any comments, any questions, just post them down below. And hey, let us know. Are you coming to Calgary Fermentation Festival? Let us know. Post it in the comments. There's over 20. We got 24 different presentations, local experts, all on numerous different topics related to fermentation. If you know how to pickle, if you know how to do sauerkraut, then there's going to be so much more. And if you don't, it's basics to advanced. It's come one, come all.
Is that all the rest of them there, Malcolm?
Yeah, that's all of them.
Okay, I'm going to take a few of these just to make a capuchon. Like, we're going to make a cap on top of our ferment here. What this does is it helps all the little bits and pieces from floating to the top. So these whole leaves are going to keep everything submerged under the brine. Everything under the brine is fine. And then we're going to add this fantastic invention, hey Malcolm, called the pickle pebble.
Yes.
So we're going to toss, the pickle pebble keeps everything under the brine. It's so important. So, oh yeah.
Yeah, weighting it down.
So the brine is over all of the veggies, and here we have this next really cool invention. It's called a pickle nipple. Or wait, is that what it's called, Malcolm?
I mean, that's what it is.
It's a
pickle pipe.
Oh yeah, the pickle pipe. So this actually is an airlock system that allows the gases of fermentation to escape, and no bad bacteria or yeasts or molds to get into our ferment. So that's gonna be ready in about 2 weeks' time, I'd say, or 2 to 4 weeks. In about 4 weeks, you reach peak bacteria.
All right, so there we go. That's gonna finish it off. So your regular mason jar lid with your pickle pipe in between creates that air seal. As Denise says, 2 to 4 weeks, but as we shared before, this ferment that I did last year, it's still going. So once you do that, then keep it in the fridge, lasts you forever. So there we are.
That brings us to the fifth major benefit of fermented foods. And when we eat this, when it's ready, we're actually going to be repopulating our gut microbiome with good bacteria. And it's been proven that 1 tablespoon of real live culture fermented vegetables is equivalent to 8 probiotic caps of the highest quality.
Billions of organisms.
Well, trillions.
Trillions
in 1 tablespoon. It's
Yeah.
by far the best way to get probiotic nutrition into your diet. So we really hope you are inspired by this little video.
Yeah.
And we really hope to see you at the Calgary Fermentation Festival.
October 19th. Yeah, totally. What a great investment. Right now, there are just literally, I think, about 6 tickets left at the $75 tier. Then it's going to go up to $85. So definitely hop on that. Come join us. Once you learn these skills, one of the other benefits, it's completely free, right? I mean, you can wild harvest the foods. I got these. These were farro seeds. These mustards just grew in the garden in absolute abundance. And I'm making them even better just freely, just by Denis and I just doing this, right? Transforming them. So
thanks for tuning in, everybody.
yeah, see you October 19th, Fermentation Festival.